So I've decided to make an autumn wreath. The last time that I made a wreath was last Christmas. It's been quite a while, so I'm a little bit nervous, I'll be honest, because I've bought quite a lot of different flowers and foliage from my florist. But let me just tell you this, if you're scared about trying this out, it always works out in the end, and you can just keep adjusting things if it doesn't work out. So don't be afraid. This is fun and something that you'll really enjoy doing. So I've bought this willow wreath. It was £5, and I've got a selection of flowers from my florist. I've spent more than probably I wanted to, but I think because they're mostly dried flowers, and when they do dry, they'll still look very beautiful, that it will be a little bit of an investment. And then when it gets closer to Christmas time, I can take all of the flowers off this ring and make more of a festive wreath. So I think this is a really fun thing to do, very relaxing, and will just get you into the spirit of enjoying yourself at home. So the last time that I made a wreath, what I did was I started to put bunches together and then attach them to the ring one by one. And actually that's very, very complex, and it gets really complicated when the bunches start to become bigger. So what I'm going to do this time is put all of the little bunches together, wire them round, and then at the end we will put them on one by one, and that will be a much quicker and better way to do it. So I'm not really sure how this is going to turn out. I'm just going to play around, you'll have to bear with me. So I'm just going to start off by taking little bunches of things, just using what we have. What I tend to do is keep the tall things at the back and then the smaller things around here at the front. So let's add a little bit more of this in, because this is adding some height at the back. Here. And then I'm just gonna put it up to the rest of the stuff so that we can see and make trims and cuts where we need to. A little bit of red in there. And maybe a little bit of that. So that is one little bunch. I'm going to wrap this round with a wire, and then we can add them onto the wreath at the end. So I've just taken the wire and secured the whole piece together like that, and then I'm going to put it to one side, and again we will add this on at the very end. Once you've secured all of your bunches of flowers together, you can start adding them onto the wreath. Take your time doing this. You can, because you've got the branches to play with, you can really play around with them and find which is the best placement to put them on the wreath. As you can see, I'm placing each new bunch on top of the fixing so that it's hidden away in a counterclockwise direction. This will enable you to easily fasten each new bunch onto the wreath and cover up the wires. Once you have put all of these bunches together, you'll have your final wreath ring, and even though you may have cut your hands like I have, and it's very, very strenuous work, it is worth it because you end up with a big, beautiful autumnal wreath. And I think this is just so gorgeous. It's autumnal without being cliche. I mean, there are no pumpkins or anything like that. It's very beautiful. We've got flowers, foliage, bits and pieces coming out. It's just very beautiful and natural, and I think it will look really gorgeous on the drawer. So I hope that you will have a go at doing this yourselves, and please do share the results with me. During the autumn, I crave comfort food. This is such a simple meal to make, but so fulfilling. I'm using a spaghetti squash. You roast it in the oven, and once it is cooked, you get this wonderful stringy filling that goes so well with a variety of different recipes. I'm going to make mine with a basil pesto and asparagus and mushroom filling. To begin, I'm scraping the seeds out of the pumpkin squash, and then I will add some olive oil and some salt and roast it in the oven for about an hour. To make the pesto, I'm adding about half a cup of olive oil, a handful of fresh basil, half a cup of pine nuts, 2 cloves of garlic, about half a cup of parmesan, and a good seasoning of salt and pepper. I will blend this together and leave to one side. If you want to make this dish completely plant-based, you could use vegan cheese. Now I'm going to chop some mushrooms into thin slices. Then I will cut my asparagus in half and finally crush 2 cloves of garlic. In a pan, I'm adding a tablespoon of olive oil, and to this I will add the garlic and fry for about 3 minutes until fragrant. Next, I'm adding in the mushrooms, and I'll cook these until browned for about 5 minutes. Finally, I will add in the asparagus and cook for another 5 minutes until they are bright green but still have a crunch. The squash is ready, so I'm taking out the flesh with a fork and I'm going to add it to the mushroom asparagus mixture. Then we will pour over our basil pesto and mix everything together before filling the squash with this delicious combination. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I really hope that you enjoyed this episode and found it fun and useful. I will see you next Friday, but until then, I hope you have a really great weekend and a wonderful week ahead. Bye-bye.